Hello and welcome to Thursday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, when in an extraordinary run of puzzles that we've had over the last couple of weeks on the channel, we have another puzzle today that has been recommended countless times. It's called Whispering Yin Yang, and it's by yttrio. And how yttrio is so consistent. Every single puzzle you do by yttrio you know is going to be a joy, but this one apparently has an unusual distinction in that it's only rated 2 out of 5 for difficulty, which is I have looked at the rules before I turned on the webcam. I'm very surprised that this is apparently quite approachable, and I'm also very surprised by the apparent lack of clues in the grid. I mean, no given digits and a sprinkling of arrows to work with. Anyway, it's got a sort of German Whispers Yin Yang flavour, which you'll have gathered from the title, and I will read you the rules in a moment or two's time. But yeah, I'm assured by a lot of people that this is absolutely brilliant. Why don't we change tack though before we do the solving? I'll do birthday. Well, I've got birthdays and I've got Valentine's Day announcements to do today, actually, even though it's not quite Valentine's Day for some people yet. We'll start off by wishing Harper a very happy birthday. Now, this is for yesterday, Harper. Your friend Marissa wrote to us, but it was just too late for yesterday's video. And I think that you share some classes at the University of Minnesota, Duluth. Is it Duluth? I hope I'm saying that correctly. It could be Duluth. Oh dear, I don't know. I don't know enough about Minnesotan universities. That's bad, isn't it? But anyway, Harper, hopefully you know who you are. I know it was your birthday yesterday. I hope you had a great time. I hope you had some chocolate cake. And I'm delighted to hear that the two of you have found Cracking the Cryptic in common. Now, the next two announcements are Valentine's Day announcements. We'll start off with Agnes. Agnes, you're down there in, I think, Sydney, Australia, if I'm not mistaken. Your husband Casey wrote to us and said, could we give you a shout out to say Happy Valentine's Day to you? I think this is your first Valentine's Day as husband and wife. So I will do just that. I don't know if it's a good excuse for a chocolate cake, but I wish you both a happy Valentine's Day. And it will be Valentine's Day in Australia now, so that's good. That's good. Now, the other Valentine's Day wishes I've got to extend are to Ken. Ken, your wife Kathy wrote to us and said that she has bought you as a Valentine's Day gift the best gift that you can possibly buy anybody on Valentine's Day. I say that maybe with a slight amount, with just a smidgen of partisanship, because Ken, you are going to be awarded a Patreon subscription as a gift, which is basically, it's $2 to join us on Patreon, and that basically gets you a gazillion hours of puzzling fun. So it is very good value. But Ken, I hope you, and well, I hope Kathy as well, have a great Valentine's Day. And actually, speaking of Patreon, we should check in, shouldn't we, on this month's competition? In fact, I really should, because I've got a call with Bismuth in a couple of hours' time. The YouTuber Bismuth and I are going to be attempting a solve of a puzzle which I haven't seen yet. Mark's choosing one for us, and that hopefully, if the technology works and we can solve it, will appear on the channel at some stage. But this is sort of the running total for our monthly competition for February. The Paint by Numbers Institute, where were we yesterday? We're closing in on 1,000. We were closing in on 1,000 people having solved all the puzzles from the pack. That is incredible. Do we get there today? Let's have a look. Oh no, we didn't. It's probably going to be tomorrow. 978. 1,600 people have solved the first puzzle. That's fantastic. Really, really well done to all the setters in the Paint by Numbers Institute, and also to Clocksmith for the art. It's going great guns. Do have a go. You will enjoy the puzzles no end. Now, with that said and done, we shall do some solving. Let's have a look at Whispering Yin Yang by yttrio. The rules are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply, so we're going to have to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Yin Yang. Shade some, not Yin Yang Yong today. We're not doing Marty Sears. Yin Yang. Shade some cells such that all shaded cells are orthogonally connected, all unshaded cells are orthogonally connected, and no 2 by 2 area is fully shaded or fully unshaded. So I will do my patented extended E/epsilon shape. Here we go. This is a possible yin-yang shading of the grid. There, we've done it. Oh, that's rather beautiful. Now, why is this a valid shading? Well, you can see you can trace through the whole green area by crossing cell borders, sort of edges of green cells from one to another. What we haven't got here is, let's put that one in. Now this green is not orthogonally connected to its friends because it only touches the other greens at a diagonal point. That's not sufficient for orthogonal connection. So the green area works. Similarly, the purple area works. And if we look at the green area and the purple area individually, we'll find there's no 2 by 2 area in the grid that is entirely one colour. So this is a possible yin-yang shading. Now, the shaded cells in this puzzle act as a German whispers line, i.e. if 2 orthogonally connected cells are both shaded, then the digits in those cells must have a difference of at least 5. So if those 2 are shaded, and this was a 1, oh, missed it. Oh, this is a 1, this would have to be at least a 6 in order to ensure these 2 cells are 5 apart, at least. And a digit in a cell with an arrow counts the total number of shaded cells seen in the direction of the arrow, not counting the cell itself. So this would be a maximum of 3, because we're not counting this cell. So do we know whether this is shaded or not? A digit in a cell with an arrow. No, okay, so we don't, that's interesting. You don't know whether that's shaded or not, but you do know what it's counting is how many shaded cells there are in those 3. Let's do another one. So this one is counting how many shaded cells there are in those 5, etc. Do have a go. Apparently it's a stunning puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now, I get to play. Let's get cracking. I feel like I should talk about some secrets first in this one. There are yin-yang secrets and there are German whispers secrets. So let's do yin-yang first. Now what we're not going to find in this puzzle, unless I make a mistake, is a checkerboard pattern. So let's imagine that we did think there was a checkerboard. Why can there not be a checkerboard pattern? Well, the answer is because of the rules, basically. The rules require us to orthogonally connect the 2 greens together. And you can see that however we do that, whatever sort of exotic route we take to achieve that connection, you're going to isolate this purple from being orthogonally connected to this purple in doing the green connectivity. So there won't be a checkerboard. The perimeter, as a result of that, sort of a corollary of that, if you like, the perimeter will either be entirely one colour, entirely the other colour, or it will have sort of greenliness and purpliness in 2 stretches. But if it did have this, it's important to note that you can't now introduce a new green in the middle of the purple. You can't have another stretch of green. Once you've got one stretch of green, that's all you're allowed. Because if you do make another stretch or another cell of green or stretch of green, what happens when you try to connect this green to this green? You can see again, it doesn't matter what route you take, you will find that you isolate part of the purple from the rest of the purple. So we're going to have to bear that in mind when we try to do the puzzle. Are there any other secrets of yin yang? Don't think so. So let's do German whispers. Imagine these squares are all shaded. Now, the first thing to note is that you can never do 5 in a German whispers relationship, because this digit needs to be at least 5 different from 5. And if we go up, we get to 10 or higher, they aren't Sudoku numbers. And if we go down, we get to 0 or lower, and they aren't Sudoku numbers either. So 5 is never going to appear in any stretch of green on the puzzle. Now, that's not the end of the secrets for German whispers, though, because what that means is that every time you place a digit on a green section, it's either going to be above 5, sort of the way I write, I say above 5 and then write the digits below 5. Sorry, it's either going to be above 5 or it's going to be below 5. And the interesting thing is that it has to oscillate, because imagine this cell here was also filled with an above 5 digit. What's the furthest apart we could make these two cells? Well, it would be 6 and 9, wouldn't it? And 6 and 9 are only 3 apart, not 5 apart. So you have to oscillate. Now, there might be some niceties about 4s and 6s as well, which are sort of monogamous along green stretches, because they only have one partner. 4 can only partner with 9, 6 can only partner with 1. I don't think there's anything else on German whispers. So, armed with our secrets, let's see what we can do. So what we should probably do is start by pencil marking some of these arrows. The ones that are very close to the edge, that one is 1 or 2, isn't it? That one is 1, 2, 3 or 4. No, they aren't actually that. I mean, I could pencil mark the. I know, I'm just not prepared to do it. I mean, that being 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. These two being close together. From a constructor's perspective, they are fishy, aren't they? But I just think, if you're anything like me, when I make variant Sudoku, I always start in box 1. So those two being together are probably doing something. Okay, but perhaps first what we're meant to think about is the perimeter. My phone's going bananas. One thing we can say about the perimeter without doing any thought at all is it's not all one colour. Well, that's not true. It's not all shaded. And that's because there is a 5 somewhere in row 1, for example. And the 5 in row 1 cannot be a green digit, because then any connection, and it would need to have connectivity to stop there being 2 by 2s all over the rest of the grid. Any connection to the 5 would not be able to be in a German whispers relationship. So the 5 in this row, the 5 in this column, the 5 in this row, and the 5 in this column are all undeniably unshaded. So maybe that's what's going on then. Maybe what it's trying to hint at me is that the whole perimeter is unshaded. I should probably shall I choose yellow and dark green? What's the best contrast actually? I don't know. I'll hang on, let me just think about this first before I decide on colour. Let's say yellow. So if the whole perimeter is yellow, which I'm saying is unshaded, then I've got no bothers with 5s. No, that doesn't work, does it? Because these arrow clues have to point. That it doesn't matter whether they're shaded or not. They have to be non-zero. I mean, I could put 1 in there, but that would still mean there was something shaded in the perimeter. Yes, in fact, this cell is itself shaded. Okay, let's do that then. That's definitely shaded. And that's because of these two arrows being together. Because what this is doing is counting how many shaded cells there are in this stretch. Now, if this was unshaded, this would have the same number in it as this square, wouldn't it? And we can't have the same number in 2 Sudoku cells. So that is definitely shaded. Yeah, right, okay. So this is definitely unshaded, is what I'm going to say. Let's go yellow for that. Because if it wasn't, if this was also green, the difference between these two digits would be at least 5. But it can't be 5 because the maximum it can be is 1. In fact, this digit just is 1 different to whatever we write in here, whether it's shaded or not. So the difference between these is 1, because this one counts 1 more green cell in this stretch because it sees that one, which this one doesn't see. So it definitely can't be green. So now I think this yellow is going to have to go an awful long way around the perimeter because, well, even if that was a 5, which it could be because it's yellow, and that would mean that the 5 has been used up in row 1, there must be a 5 in this column. Yes, so the 5 in this column is definitely yellow. So the sort of, from this perspective, because there's only 1 stretch of yellow around the perimeter, this yellow must come all the way through to here, and it might stop there if this is 5 and this is all green. But it's got to come at least to here, and now that square is definitely green, but to avoid a 2 by 2. This is already extremely good. It's really interesting. It's really weird that you can sort of, you can immediately make progress here. Now I'd love to know. So the only way that this is green, which would make all of these green, is if both of these are 5s. No, and that doesn't work. Because if that's 5, it's saying that there's only 5 greens in the row. Yeah, so this is definitely not green. And that logic must apply to all these squares. I mean, if that's green, I've got to make all of those green. That means this is 5, because 5 can never be in the green squares at all. But it's clearly, then it would be 8, wouldn't it? Well, yeah, it would be 8. It's 8 by count of greens, and it's 5 by the fact you can't put 5 in the greens. So in fact, the stretch of green around this perimeter is extremely limited, because it can't even get to there. So this is great. Now I can do all of these as yellow. So this is green. Oh, we might be able to do better still. But now, okay, now the 5 doesn't have to be in this square, does it? So it might be more tricky now. Ah, I've got a digit. Sorry, look, that's a 1. That's not a 1, because it's just counting 1, literally. So if that was green, this would be at least a 6. And if this was not green, then that would be green, to get the green out. What's going to be the big game in town here is to try and get, if we can get 1 digit, just 1 digit in a definite green cell, we're going to be able to do checkerboarding on the puzzle. Because imagine that was a high digit. The point then is, because all of the green cells are orthogonally connected, let's imagine we then also identified this square as green. We would know for sure that this was a high digit, and that's because to get from this one to this one, we'd always have to take an even number of steps along the path. I don't know if that's because you can never sort of jump diagonally. One of these would have to be green to connect to this, so the next one would be the opposite polarity to this one, and then we'd jump onto this one, which would keep the polarity the same. So there's going to be a bishop's rule in this puzzle. If we can get a green digit established, that is not 4 anymore. That is 2 or 3, because this one can no longer be green. that one has to be none. It's not a tiny number. It's not 1. Because if it was 1, it's already seen it's 1, and all these are yellow. And they can't all be yellow because we'd have a plethora of 2x2s in the bottom 2 rows, which were all yellow, which we're not allowed to do. So we'd have to have at least 1 green there, at least 1 green there, and we've got 1 green there. So this is at least a 3. 3, 4, it can't be 5. I'm not pencil marking, I just refuse. It's 3, 4. Actually, no, hang on, because it could be 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, it can't be bigger than 6. Right, okay, sorry, I didn't realise that. I was thinking it could be all the high digits. It definitely can't, because it only sees 6 blank cells that could be green. So if it was 6, it would have to be next to a 1, and it would only extend in one direction. If it went in 2 directions like that, it wouldn't be Harry Styles qualified, and because then it would, both of those squares would be 1, and Sudoku would break. In fact, Sudoku would break for many reasons. So it's what do we think? It's very nearly a monogamous digit. It's very nearly 4 or 6. Now that one, if that was 6, what bishop's colour is that? That's on a different bishop's colour, so this would be low. And then this one we don't really know. Well, it's 1 more than whatever we put in this one. And if this is high, it's 6 again, because it would only see 6. Ah, that's beautiful. Good grief. Right, this is low. Right, this is absolutely beautiful. If this was high, because it only sees a possible 6 green digits, it would have to be a 6. When I say high, I mean higher than 5. So we'd be in this world. Now, look at this string. Remember, we're oscillating polarity. So if this is high, this is high, this is high, and this is high. And that's fine on the face of it. They would be 7, 8, 9. But what's this digit if this is 6? This digit is definitely 7. And now I can't put 7 in any of those squares, and I'd have too many high digits in the row. And that's massive. That is absolutely massive, because now, whoopsie, this digit has to be low, which means 1, 2, 3, or 4. And that means by bishop's colouring, this is high and is 6, and that's another digit, and that has to get out. The green, that has to connect to something. It cannot connect up, because the only Sudoku digit that's 5 away from 6 is 1, and 1 is here. So this is how it connects. That is green. That's definitely yellow. That's definitely green to stop a 2x2. Oh, and the 6 is saying that all of these are green. So now these are 7, 8, 9. Oh, this is beautiful. Good grief. Right, so these are 2, 3, and 4. And you can't put 4s into these. Oh, this is yellow. Right, but look what's going on now. We can't put 4s into these because they would be surrounded on both sides by 9s. So these are a 2, 3 pair. But this square, imagine it was green. It wouldn't be far enough apart from the digit beneath it. So that is yellow. One of these is a 2. So the digit between... one of these is a 3. So this has got to be not 7. If it was 7, it would have to have 1s and 2s on both sides of it. I sort of want that one to be 7. If that's 7, that's 2. That's 3, and that's 8, 9. This one could be green, couldn't it? Because it would have the correct polarity. Oh, that can't be 3. If that's 3, all of those are green, and I've got green 2x2s. So that's 2. That's 3. So this isn't 7 now. And okay, so I've got this wrong. So this is 7, which must be next to 2 as a digit, the only digit that's 5 away from it that's permissible now. When I said I got it wrong, I thought that was going to be the 7 next to a 2 here, but that turned out not to be true. Now, this 2 has to be we can't have a domino of green in either of these places, can we? So both of those have got to be green. That's got to be yellow to stop 2 by 2s. That yellow's got to get out. This is low, and it's 4. It's 4. It sees 1, 2, and 3. So by green polarity, it's 4. But now 4 can only go next to 9, which gives me 8 here. But also, this can't be green because it would be a second 9. And that means this has to be yellow to avoid a checkerboard. I apologise if you're watching me solve yin yang, or for the first time, you may be saying, how does he see any of this with seemingly no gap? But the only reason is I've done so many of them. It's nothing clever, I assure you about that. Now, what bishop's colour is that on? It's on the correct bishop's colour, so that could be green. Although it can't be 3. Oh, hang on, it's 1. Sorry, has that been available for ages? I just hadn't seen this. It's not 0. 0 is not a Sudoku digit, and it can only see that cell now. So that is a 1, and that is a green. And we can do the colourings of this. So this one is low, and is 2, 3, or 4, and that's high and is 7, 8, or 9. And now what do we do? This is at least, this is 3, because it can't be 2 because it sees 2 already. So there must be another green in this row. That must be there now. So that's high, and that's 6, 7, or 9 by Sudoku. What about this one then? That's a 3, I think. 1, 2. I can only make one of those green, but I can't leave this as a count of 2 because then it will clash here. So I think that's 3, and one of these is green. Oh, look at this. Oh my goodness me. Right. One of these is green, exactly one of them. What would happen if it was this one? Well, by polarity, it would be a low digit. But 1, 2, 3, and 4 are already in the row Mavericks flying over in celebration of yttrio's puzzle. So this has got to be green in order that it's of the correct polarity. So it's not 6, it's 7, 8, or 9 by Sudoku. Can't be 6 for this one. This one is now yellow. And that probably does something. Oh, hang on, what do we do now? That 3 is correct. This is a something, not a very descriptive. It can't be 4, but it could be 5. It's not 1, it's not 3. So it's 2 or 5 only, this square. 5 would be hugely powerful, because all of those would be green. 2 would be incredibly difficult to understand vis-a-vis the column, I think. What is this number? And the answer to that is 2, I think, which is going to give me this digit. If this was 4, both of these squares would be 9. Well, that breaks Sudoku. It can't be 3 by Sudoku, so it is 2. And if it's 2, this can't be 6. 6 and 2 are only 4 apart. This is 5, which is probably the big game, the big win we get from this. So all of these are now green. The greens have to extend. Okay. The greens have to meet each other in the perimeter. We can't have 2 isolated strands of green in the perimeter for all the reasons we talked about. So these are green, but that makes that a 4 by count. We worked out this had to be a low number. So this is 5, and we've got our 4, so these are yellow. This is green. This is total genius. this puzzle. It is absurdly clever. Right, these digits are 1s, 2s and 3s by dint of the... Oh, I suppose that one is as well. In fact, yeah, I was going to say it could be 4, but it can't be 4 for 2 reasons. Firstly, it sees 4. Secondly, if it was 4, both of those would be 9. This square is 2 or 3. And these, the gapped cells now, are 6, 7s, 8s, 9s. Now, we can't put 6 in the middle. In fact, 4 must be next to 9. In fact, that's another point, isn't it? This must be yellow, because otherwise it would be another 9. So this is green, and that's got to be low by the checkerboarding rule. This can't be 6. It would have double 1 on both sides. That can't be 6. That can't be 6. It would have double 1 on both sides. And therefore, all we've got to do is work out what this means. I've got 9 in this column. So now I've got 7 and 8 here. So this can't be 3 because one of these is 7 and it won't be far enough away. I've got 7, 8 here, so that one is exactly the same. So I've now got a 1, 2 pair, which makes this a 3, this an 8, because, again, 3 and 7 are too close together. This is 7, this is 8. 7 is going to be surrounded by a 1, 2 pair, which means this is 3 by Sudoku. This is a high digit by Bishop's colouring. So that is 6, 8 or 9. And now what do we do? I don't know, is the short answer. I've got various bits and pieces here that I've got to connect up. This yellow has to get to the rest of its friends. This yellow has to get to the rest of its friends. This... Oh, I don't know. Okay, I am actually stuck. Let's try and work out what the next logical thing to do would be. Okay, have I used all of the arrows? I don't know the colour of that one. But aside from that, I feel like I have used them all, which is slightly disconcerting. If this was green, it would be a 4 by Bishop's colouring. It would have to be next to a 9, which might be fine, actually. What do we... Oh, I see. Okay. Where's 5 in row 8? It's there. Okay, so that one is a 4. So 4 is in one of these two. Does that do anything? I'm not sure it does, actually. 3 I can place in this box, and that is on the correct Bishop's colour. So we don't know it's green, but it could be. One. I can place 1 in column 5. So what do I need to complete this box then? 5, 6, 7. That's a 6 by Sudoku. That's a 6 by Sudoku. Oh, good. It's so unsurprising to me that it's Sudoku that's getting me out of a hole here. So 5, 7 go here. This has become a 9. So that's not a 9 anymore. This column needs 2, 4, and 6. So the 2 must go here, look. And this is a 4, 6 pair. So these are a 5, 9 pair. Oh, I know what we can do. I've got one idea for what we can do. But let me just 4, 6, 7 on these squares. What we should do is hunt out, like this square immediately pops into my brain. That's yellow. Because if it was green, it would have the wrong polarity. It would be too low. So that's definitely yellow. Which is all very well, but... No, okay, I don't think I do know. I'm going to have to think harder. If this was yellow... Sorry, if this was green, it would have to be 6 or 7, wouldn't it? And it would be connected to that. That doesn't work. 3 and 6, 3 and 7 are too close together, so that's definitely yellow. Now, what does that mean? Is that in any way useful? If that's green, it is... No, that doesn't work either. By bishop's colouring, it would have to be a low digit, but it would be too close to 8, so that's yellow. Right, so this is now green to avoid a 2 by 2. This is yellow to avoid a 2 by 2. To avoid a checkerboard, that's yellow. So I've got a whole raft of yellow in the grid. This... Oh, I see. Oh my goodness me. Right. Look at the bottom of the grid. I'm looking at the green. Now that green area at the bottom so far hasn't connected to its friends at the top, and we need to achieve a connection somehow. Now, on the face of it, it would seem maybe we could come up here to do it, but this digit is a problem because it can't be low. I mean, yes, that's probably the simplest way of saying it. Look, that is just a yellow digit because it can't be 4, 3, 2 or 1. So it's yellow and that's green, and now this green has to get out, so it goes there. These are both high digits by polarity. Let's fill in all the options and then see what we can get rid of. So 6 and 8 come out of that one. 9 comes out of this one. Okay, but we still haven't got connectivity, so both of those are green at the bottom. We can do... yeah. Oh no. Actually, I might be wrong with what I... No, I am right. If this was 4, which it could be in theory, the point is that we've got to connect out of this green string. 4 here would put 9 here, and to get this green to be longer, one of those would have to be green and would also be a 9. So that must be 2. So this digit is 8. It can't be 7, 9, and it certainly can't be 6 because it would be too close. And then, so this is going to connect to, it depends which direction it goes. It looks to me like it wants to go there. But maybe it could go here. If it goes here, it's a 9 in this position. That digit is now no longer 8, so that is 6 or 9, and this hasn't connected to any friends yet. Okay, so how do we make more progress? We know what those digits are. They're 4, 8, and 9. That one's not 8. We know that this one's got to go to a low digit next. It can't go there, because this isn't 9. And so if this is low, it's 4, and it wouldn't be 5 away. So this is how this connects. That's green. That's avoiding a 2 by 2. One of these at least is green, because otherwise we've got a yellow 2 by 2. But both of them can't be green, because then the yellow will be pooled in a nasty puddle of yellowness. Avoid the yellow puddles. Don't eat the yellow snow. Right, now what's this? This is a 3, because that's the only low digit it can be. So that is an 8. So this is a 7. That's a 7. That's a 5. Oh, goodness me. This is an 8-9 pair by Sudoku. These squares are 3, 2, and 5. A chance of a 3 in the corner. better chance actually, because the 5 doesn't go here. That isn't 3. There's a 7, 8, 9 triple in that column, look, hidden away there. So this digit is 4, 5. It's a naked single. It sees 3 low digits, 3 high digits, 3 high digits in those. So it has to be a middly digit, and it sees 4 and 6. So that is a 5. So one of those is a 5. This is not a 5. So there's a 2, 3 pair. So this is the 5 in the bottom row. And we are on the cusp. Yeah. Oh, no. Bobbins. Okay, look, this is a 1, 2, or a 3. And in this column now, the only place for 3 is here. that stops there being a 3 in the corner. Okay, if these are 1, 2, what are these? 6, 7. We can do that. So that's 6, 4. This one has the wrong polarity, so that's definitely yellow. So this is definitely green. It can't be 5 then, so that's got to be 9. Let's hope the polarity's right. It is, so that's good. What are those squares? 4, 6? I think so. So these squares are 1, 3, 8. We can write the 8 in. We can write the 3 in. We can write the 1 in. We can write the 8 here. We can write the 9 here. So that's 7. That's 9. This is no longer 7. So 4 and 6 are a pair in this row. And we've still got to connect up the green bottom bit. Look, it hasn't achieved its connectivity yet. I've a strong suspicion it's going to be Sudoku. I'm just not quite sure where. Where should we look? What's the natural place to look? Perhaps this column? 4, 5, 6 and 9 into the gap. So this is 4, 5 or 6. That is 6. Aha! That's a naked single. It sees 4, 5 and 9. So that's 9. That's 4 at the bottom. And that digit is the 5. So 5 we know must be yellow just because of its nature. So now the green has to go there. This is a something. It's a high digit. It's not 6, is it? So it can't be 7. 7 and 3 would be too close together. So that is 9. That does the bottom of the grid. 9 and 8. Avoid a checkerboard. Sorry, a 2 by 2. So that's yellow. This has still got to connect up. It could possibly do it here. 1, 4, 6, 7. That's not 5, is it? Sorry. Okay. What about row 2? 1, 2s and 8s. That's a naked single. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 8. We need 2 and 7. Yeah, 2 and 7. We need 4 and 5. That gets me a 6 here. That's hopefully going to do some tidying up over in this neck of the woods. That is a 7 by Sudoku. 7, 6, 6, 4. What do we need here? 1, 4. Looks good. Looks good. Now we've just got to get the shading right. Oh, don't be ambiguous. Oh, it's not. Okay, that's good. The 5 must not be shaded. Now this has to be green to avoid a 2 by 2. Oh, good grief. And now that's puddled. So it's got to unpuddle itself and join to the rest of its friends. And that is the green shape. That is absolutely staggering. Is it right? Yes. That is staggering, isn't it? What a beautiful puzzle. 600, did I say 600 times that's been solved? Good grief. Hang on, let me just look at that again. 600 times. Wow. Okay, well that must be why we're getting so many recommendations for it. We've had about 30 to look at this. That is absolutely beautiful. It was so smooth as well. Actually, yeah, I think I could have started it much more quickly by just thinking harder about this domino. But But what I loved is that I loved the way that the bishop's move on the colouring sort of really played a part in the solve. It is a beautiful puzzle, that yttrio. I mean, I know you've done a lot of these whispering logic ones. That might be my favourite. I just thought that was stunningly set. Let me know in the comments how you got on with it. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.